welcome back to Overland podcast, and this is Wayne from Overlanding.
And this is Steven from Overlanding as well.
Last time we have just finished about our first product, and in recent days we have seen a lot of video which is talking about what would you choose for your first advantages, rooftop tent or the ground tent. And when you see this topic, what do you think first?
Ground tent and roof tent, they all belong to tent, but are totally different. When we talk about rooftop tent, first important point is that you need to have a vehicle,
yeah, for sure.
SUV or off-road vehicle or pickup. Normally, also have some roof tent which is suitable for the sedan, but
yes.
It depends on different kind of roof tent. But for the ground tent, definitely no such kind of.
Yes, you just need to put it on your package
Definitely.
and just going out.
Definitely.
So about that point, after you have a car and it can install a rooftop tent already, so what will you think next?
I think if I choose a rooftop tent,
Yes.
the safety is the most point I will consider about. Unlike ground tent, you can put the tent packed and in your car, but for rooftop tent, you will mount it on the top of the vehicle. And
Yes.
when you're driving, when you're parking, definitely you will consider about that. So, if I want to buy a roof tent, the first point is about the roof tent itself. It is very some safety design.
Yes.
I mean, for the whole strike when collapse, when open, it is strong enough. The lock or connecting system, like the bottom shell, connected to the roof crossbar or the whole roof, it is strong enough, which is very important. And the third point is when you driving the cars, because there is a roof tent on the top, so it will also totally different. If I have a roof tent on the vehicle, then I should drive very carefully, not accelerating so much or brake suddenly or steering. So I will consider about those points.
Okay, the point that you have mentioned, I do think if I have a ground tent, I don't need to consider about this point. So for this point, I do think the ground tent will be much more better. Can I say that? And however, if I do have a ground tent when I'm sleeping out, the most I will consider is also about the safety when we sleeping. Because at the wild, there will be so many animals like the snakes or the bears, a lot of different kind of animal approached. So about this point, I do think it is we still need to consider about the safety.
Yes, what you mentioned actually, it is advantage for the roof tent. The principle for the rooftop tent is mounted on the top of the car. Normally it is around 1.5 meters or 2 meters away from the ground. So for those animals, because there's ladder there, so the animals or like bear, snake, they could not climb into the tent. And for some insects, they will also not come into. So it is more safe. It is safer than ground tent when you go wide. When you in the night when you sleep in the tent.
Okay, at this point for sleeping, for this point, maybe the rooftop tent is a little bit better than the ground tent because I've used that before. Sometimes it will be not so safety for your feelings when you're just using the ground tent. So the next point I will consider about if it's comfort enough when we're going out for camping.
Comfort is also a good advantage for rooftop tent because we have a very good foam mattress inside, and also outside of foam mattress there is a very fuzzy or very feeling good mattress cover. So when people sleep in the roof tent, they feel like sleep at home.
For sure, for sure.
Yes.
So at this point, the ground tent, because if you guys using the ground tent, you guys need to know the weight is really necessary and also the space. So for these 2 points, so we can't using the mattress just like what Steven said. We regularly we were just using the air mattress. So when we're using the air mattress, another point we need to consider about it is the ground. We need to find out the ground which is flat enough. So that will make us not feel so uncomfortable. So another point is when we're using that, because we have just using the mattress on the ground when we sleep a whole night. The second day when we wake up, it will be very wet. So if it happened on the rooftop tent,
the reason you the next day you will get wet in the tent. 2 reasons I think. The first point is about breeze, because tent fabric material it is how to say waterproof. So when people sleep inside, when breeze one night, the moisture could not released fast.
yes.
According to this point, actually the rooftop tent has the same issues. Though there's a vent, but still the moisture could not release 100%.
Oh, okay.
So this is the same problem. And the second point is about when the ground tent set up on the land, it evaporates a lot.
Okay.
So it will get wet for the whole tent. While for the roof tent, because on the 1.5 or 2 meters taller, it's similar like for roof tent you sleep in the second floor, and for the ground tent you sleep in the ground floor.
Oh.
So that's the feeling is different, and the moisture is also different.
Okay, which means it will be like common questions, but the rooftop tent is a little bit better than the ground tent, but that will be the common questions. And talking about the comfort, another point is when you're using a rooftop tent, you can't change the size so easily because it will consider about your car.
The roof area actually is limited, so we cannot make a very large size.
Yes. So about this point, I do think the ground tent is much better because you can just choosing for different size, 2 person, 3 person, 4 person, even larger, and also you can just divide for different room like sleeping room or living room. It can divide a lot of different kind of space. So this point, I do think the ground tent is a little bit better.
Indeed, for roof tent, normally the biggest tent we can make is like 3 or 4 person size, with the width around 2 meters, something like that. But what you mentioned about the living room, something like that, for roof tent, there is some we call the annex room, which is connecting to the room. There is some space. Maybe it is not as big as ground tent, like big family around tent, but also have some space connecting from the roof tent to ground.
Okay, so that would be also a little bit different, and yes. And the next point I will consider is about if it's convenient enough, because I have just using the rooftop tent before. I don't really know when we want to using the rooftop tent, we need to install the rooftop tent to the car, and this will take a lot of time, at least for 2 persons, and also if you're using a heavier one, hard case one, it takes more people to use to install it. But if you're using like the ground tent, it will not take so much time. You just need to put it on the car and driving to there and just setting up in very easy way.
So what you're talking about is the first time installation process.
Yes.
It is totally different. Unlike the ground tent, you can just pack, right?
Yes.
For the roof tent, you need to have a roof crossbar or roof platform, and like 2 people or 4 people lift the roof tent to the crossbar, and then use the bolt to fix it very tightly.
Yes.
The whole process will last around half an hour to 1 hour. It is indeed a long process, especially for the beginners.
Yes.
It is a little, how to say, take times. However, what I want to say is once you install the tent on the car, when you use the tent, it is reverse because it will much easier to set up. I mean, open the tent and close the tent. The whole process, we can say, from 30 seconds to 5 minutes. It would be much faster than the ground tent when you to do setup or collapse.
Okay, so that will be not like the advantages, disadvantages. It's just like two options, two ways. One is you take more time for the installations, but you can open it very easy. Another is just taking out in very easy way.
Yes.
So there will be two options, right? So the last point is about the cost, and I think it will be very important one because you know when you search, no matter for the Amazon or for others web shops, it will be very easy to find out the price for the rooftop tent is much more higher than the ground tent.
From the view of production, I would say that for ground tent, it mainly consists of fabric, fiberglass or aluminum poles.
Yes.
And some accessories.
Yes.
That's all, right?
Yes.
The materials will be simple. While for rooftop tent, the material will be more complicated. Like we mentioned about the matches. It is high density foam matches. It is heavy and also costly. The matches cover, if we make it fuzzy or very good feeling material, it is costly. And for roof tent, because unlike ground tent, you can use stripe and the pad to fix for roof tent. The whole structure when open, it should be strong enough to withstand the wind, storms. So the whole structure, which is made of aluminum, also very strong. And the third point is about the bottom shear.
Yes.
Because for ground tent you sleep on the ground. The ground supports your whole weight. While for the roof tent, 3 people, 4 people sleep on the roof tent. So the bottom shear should be strong enough to hold or support like 300 kilos or 400 kilos, which make the material and the whole structure expensive. As a result, you can say for roof tent, normally the price would be around $1,000 or maybe more for some hard case versions. While I believe for ground tent, hundreds. Maybe some for big ones will more, but there's a big difference.
Okay, so the reason why it's expensive is it will be depend on the material it costs and the made the cost.
Yes.
Okay, so
I forgot to talk about another point is about the transportation. Transportation cost will also influence because for the ground tent, because it's all flexible and soft, so you can package it with a small box. While for the roof tent, it is rigid. So just imagine, it looks like a bigger bedding in your home. So in this case, the transportation no matter from the manufacturer to the warehouse or warehouse to consumer's door, the whole transportation cost would be maybe double or triple than the regular ground tent.
Okay, so it's heavier and it's bigger.
Yes,
so
indeed.
So that's the reason why you have said it's much more expensive than that. So another point is when we're using that, because of the rooftop tent is much more heavier than the ground tent, and it is installed on the car, all of the car. I mean, so it will costs much more gasolines, right?
Definitely, it will do. Like last year or 2 years ago, when the gasoline cost higher, it will prevent some customers to buy those roof tents. And another point is that, like us as a producer, we try to decrease the weight of the whole tent. One is about the decrease the gas consumption, and another point is with the more and more popular of the tent, the local market, they have the regulation to decrease the weight to, they must have the weight less than 75 kilos. So we try to make a less weight tent. And another point is we want to lower the height when closed. We call the low profile tent. To how to say, when people driving, the gasoline consumption would be less. But for ground tent, I think there were no need to
just put it in the car.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so that's all the points that I'd really thinking about the advantage or disadvantages for the rooftop tent and the ground tent. So Steven, what do you think about that?
Yes, basically we have talked all about those points. Another point I want to mention is that because rooftop tent is still new and kind of like a new species, so it looks like if you have a roof tent, I mean, it seems you are more fashionable. This is my feeling because when I go camping with my rooftop tent, always there are some people come and have a look, which is kind of interesting.
Okay, so which means it will be much more attractive.
Yeah, indeed. You can say that.
Okay, so I got it. So that's all about today's podcast. When we're talking about the advantages, disadvantages for the rooftop tent and the ground tent, we were talking about the safety, the comfortable, and the convenient, and the cost about this point. And later we will just putting a list on the videos about all of this point. So you guys could just choosing about according to the list. And that's all about today's podcast. So we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye bye.